Hello everyone, I'm Larry Webster, and this is a 1970 Dodge Challenger TA. This one's a survivor, original in every detail, a perfect 1970 time capsule. It looks cool and the V8 rumble sounds terrific, but here's the problem. It drives like a 1970 Dodge Challenger, which I gotta say, isn't even as good as a minivan. Now I'm in another 1970 Dodge Challenger. This one's been restored and modified by XV Motorsports. Now the company claims they found a way to modernize the old muscle car so that it performs like a modern car. In other words, they're promising a vintage experience without any of the vintage hassles. Now to find out if it's possible to take a 40-year-old car and make it modern, a crew from XV Motorsports arrived at our office last July with two cars. An original 1970 Dodge Challenger TA with just 23,281 miles on the clock, and the company's restomod version of the same car, which they've dubbed the XV Challenger. Now a restomod is a vintage car that's been completely rebuilt and modified so that little of the original hardware remains. Over 2 days, we drove the cars on public roads and at a racetrack, and of course performed our usual testing on both. Now the original Challenger featured here has a 340 cubic inch V8 breathing through a 6-pack, which is basically a trio of 2-barrel carburetors. It made 290 horsepower in the inflated SAE gross rating of the day. It's coupled to a 4-speed transmission that shifted to a wonderful pistol grip Hurst shifter. Now for the restomod, the modifications on the so-called XV Challenger include a 5.7-liter Dodge Hemi V8 that's been pumped to 443 horsepower, and it comes with a 5-speed Tremec manual transmission. There's also a reworked suspension, rack and pinion steering, stop tech, disc brakes all around, a new interior, and significant structural enhancements. The worst part about the unmodified Challenger is the sloppy manual steering. It requires nearly 6 turns lock to lock and constant sawing at the wheel to keep the old monster in its lane. Now even if the car could corner well, the flat vinyl seats offer as much lateral support as a grandstand bench. The manual brakes need a substantial effort on the pedal and are pretty much impossible to modulate. Although the ride is commendably supple, the body quivers, the interior rattles, and the rear axle hops over bumps. Now, as for the extensively modified restomod, it did ride a bit harsher than the stocker, but the body didn't quiver and the chassis felt planted. Sweeping curves that required a 50-mile-per-hour tiptoe in the original car could now be taken effortlessly 20 miles per hour quicker. The steering wasn't as sweet as, say, that of a Mazda Miata, but the power assist, a quicker ratio, and a fair measure of precision were huge improvements. While the original Challenger has its charms, it's better suited to cruise nights than spirited driving. If, however, you want that vintage look with modern performance, you're going to need the restomod Fountain of Youth.